rise. The Honorable Judgey Therapist, Vernique Esther presiding.
Hi there. Welcome to my courtroom. It's another day, another problem that I have to solve because y'all don't know how to act right. So the question on the docket today is, can church be a date? Let's find out. Thank you so much to everyone for being here today. Today we have the case of the people versus @thatbaldheadedblondegirl. Please state your case.
Okay, so I went on a date. The date was going to church, but I was late to the date. He arrived at my house at 9:25. At 9:20. I was out by 9:25, so I was pushing the time that it took to get to church.
Okay.
So then I wanted to get some Starbucks. So we go get Starbucks, and he felt like I was pushing the time because church started.
9:20. Got out by 9:25. You said that at that point you were pushing the time, but you decided to stop at Starbucks. What time does church start?
At 10. We arrived to church exactly at 10.
Okay.
But you know how when you're in the car and you got to get like ready, put your lip on, get the oil off the bottom of your shoes and stuff? I was doing that. So my date was really anxious to get into church, but I felt like you could just wait for me. So then he's like, I'm gonna just leave you the key. Mind you, this is my first time at his church. I've never been to this church before. I'm a little anxious. It's a date. It's already like the nerves are there.
Speak
so
up,
he leaves, and then I get upset. And I'm like, I feel like you just left me. So I text my friend, and I was like, can you come pick me up? And she's like, where you at? As I'm texting her and talking to her, he comes out because he's like, where are you at? I said, I'm leaving. So then I'm like, he's like, no, don't leave. So I get out of the car, and he's like, come on, let's just go to church. Let's go to church. Let's walk in. And then I was like, no. So I turn around. I was like, I'm not going. And then this went on for like less than like 2 minutes in the parking lot. So then I get tearful because I'm feeling left out. Like, I feel like you just tried to leave me. And I don't know what that is. But I need y'all to tell me if I'm wrong. Am I wrong for saying I'm going to leave? Because he said that he felt like it was disrespectful to do all of that. And I just don't feel like I was being disrespectful, because I feel like once you got out of the car, you basically left me. And I don't know. I'm your guest. Granted, I don't think that was the intent, but I want to know if y'all feel like I'm disrespectful, because I just don't think it's disrespectful that I felt like he could have waited like 3 minutes. I was done. We got to church at 10. I wrapped everything up by 10:03, but then he wanted to hurry up and leave. And then he ended up having to come back out. Am I wrong? Is that wrong? For real, like, is that wrong?
Yes. Yes, you're wrong. But here's the thing. There's multiple layers to your wrongness, so let's get into it. Number one, you started off expressing that you were already pushing time, right? I believe he came and picked you up at 9:20. You were ready to walk out at about 9:25. It's all right. Sometimes, as girls, we're doing this last minute thing. But assuming that you have 40 minutes, 35 minutes to get there, hopefully that's enough time. You got out of that situation with just enough time to spare, and you asked to stop somewhere. This is the second part of your lack of consideration. That's what we'll call it. The first time was the fact that I would assume, were not ready on time, but I'm going to give you a half a point on that, because who among us, as a person who has ADHD and struggles with time blindness, I do be pushing time. I do. But I also don't play with people's time, right? You mentioned towards the end that you were his guest, right? And we're going to get to all of that. But if you are the guest of someone, if someone is picking you up for something, if they are, taking you out on a date, you have a responsibility as a guest. And one of those responsibilities is to not be a burdensome guest. It is for you to be considerate of the person to whom you are a guest of. And I don't think that you met and stood up to your responsibilities. So, as I stated, you decided to stop at Starbucks. Now, if I was him, I would have said, hey, sweetheart, we don't have time to stop at Starbucks, but I got you on the way back, right? But based off of how the interaction went, I don't know that she would be the type of girl to kind of take that type of boundary for an answer. So I guess he stopped at Starbucks, which likely ate up about another 15 minutes if we're being conservative. Because, some people, everybody might be trying to stop at Starbucks on their way to church. So let's say that ate up 15 minutes. Now it's about, and mind you, that's not even the time that it took to get to the Starbucks. What if it wasn't on the way? You had to get off the highway or whatever. I live in Atlanta. You got to get to the highway. You got to use the highway to get to everything. So let's say now we're about at 9:45, 9:50. But as you mentioned, you get to the parking lot right at 10 o'clock. As a passenger, you should have been ready to get out of the car. Because if you're a passenger, you had time to do all that stuff that you said that you started to do when you got to the parking lot. Taking the oil off your shoes. What even is that? What do you mean take the oil off your shoes? Okay, you had Starbucks, so you got to reapply your lippy. Got you. Should have been doing that in the car. You know what I mean? Or at least being like, let's go inside, and then once you guys find your seat, hello, you can go to the restroom and finish your getting together, getting readiness if needed, right? But that's not an ideal solution either. So you failed to be the passenger princess and be an efficient passenger princess. You get there, now you want to do these last minute activities like putting on your shoes and all of that, carrying on, which again, all could have been done while you all were on the way to Starbucks, after Starbucks, etc. So now it's time to go inside. He's realizing that you're BSing. So he's like, listen, I'm going to go inside. Here's the key. When you're done with your shenanigans, meet me inside. You felt really upset about this. And you mentioned that you felt anxious and felt away because you felt like he left you, which similar to our previous defendant, this speaks to me of an attachment issue. Some sort of maybe abandonment wound. Now, I will say where he did not get it right is him leaving you in the car. I'm going to be honest, because if I am bringing a guest with me, the responsibility as the host is to put up with my guest shenanigans or to take them back wherever they came. If I don't have the capacity to deal with being behind, like bringing a guest somewhere, you got to build in the fact that you might be behind because that is a factor, a variable that you cannot control. So with that, I don't think that it's nice that he walked into a place that you are unfamiliar with and left you. I don't think that was the kind thing to do. Now, what he could have done was sat and waited and say, hey, can you try and be as efficient as possible? I really want to be on time, right? This is church. This is something that is ritualistic for a lot of people and it may be an important part of his life and his week. And you are intruding on that by not being caring enough of his time and his feelings. You also mentioned that he felt anxious. He felt anxious about the date and things like that as well. I believe you mentioned that somewhere. So again, he felt anxious, but you were like, but I just feel like I want my feelings. But it's funny to me because a lot of times women, and we want men to be considerate of our feelings. But when men have feelings, we tend to want them to get over it. But their feelings are just as valid as yours. And you ignored how he was feeling about that situation. But yeah, I do think that he shouldn't have left you because why leave if you're just going to come back later, check on her and be like, what happened? Are you leaving? No, don't leave. If you're not willing to deal with the consequences of you setting that boundary of walking away, then you shouldn't have walked away. You should have just sat there and been patient, right? Because now you still wanted her to come in, but you created a situation where you knew you possibly could be making her upset enough to not come in. But anyways, you should have been considerate. And overall, this whole thing about you saying you cried and you felt like he tried to leave you, again, very personal, something that I recommend that you go to therapy for to address because you as a grown lady made a decision to continue to be late, right? To continue to belabor the time and then got upset at the consequences to that. So I think that's something that you need to seek within yourself. But here is one more piece that nobody is really talking about in this situation, but I'm going to say it. Church is not a date. Is everybody okay? Church is not a date. I understand it's an activity that you can do with someone that you're dating, but church is not a date. Especially if we're talking the first date, second date, third date. No, you need to be going somewhere where you can actually engage with somebody. I know all my hype and holy people are going to be like, no, because I want to see, like, are they going to pray? Are they going to engage with church? Are they this? Are they that? Wah. Let me tell you something. People grow up in different denominations. You might be judging them off of a worship or a praise or a culture that they have never been a part of and don't participate in. Somebody's engagement with church in a similar way as you or in a way that you recognize doesn't, like, limiting your judgment of them to that is not really fair. As somebody who has been to all sorts of denominations, I grew up Baptist, but I used to go to Methodist churches for a long period of time, Pentecostal, Assemblies of God. I mean, I don't, non-denominational, I done been to just like a bunch. I've even been to Mormon churches before. Everybody is different. And so if you're looking to see what their spiritual life is like through church, which church is really, and I'm going to say it because I'm grown and y'all can't hit me, y'all can't whoop me. Church is a performative environment. And so you are setting somebody up to perform spirituality for you, to perform religion for you without the fruit therein. Come on, somebody, a form of godliness, but denying the power. And so you're looking, this is how a lot of y'all get caught up with the drummers of the church and the worship leaders and the person doing this, the girl with the big booty shouting in the front of the church every week. Y'all getting caught up with them because their performance looked good, but you didn't check the fruit, huh? The tree looked good, but you didn't look at the roots, huh? So my thing is, church is not a date. You're not going to learn too much about somebody other than were we born or raised or a part of the same denomination, the same cultural, religious traditions. So stop doing that. That's weird. And it doesn't make you, like, Jesus is not more proud of you for taking a date to church. Okay? Now, if it's your partner, me and my partner have gone to church before, but it's not a date. If anything, maybe what we did after was the date. But yeah, stop doing that. Anyways, I'm not going to belabor the point here because y'all get it. Stop going to church as a date. Stop doing actions and being mad at the consequences. Let's all be grown-ups. If you're choosing to make somebody late, be prepared for them to be upset about that and to react in a certain way. If you're going to react to somebody inconveniencing you, make sure that you're prepared for the equal and opposite reaction, which is to repel that person. Don't throw rocks and hide your hands, okay? Let's all stand on the business that we have started and be okay with the consequences therein. Now, interestingly enough, I read some of the comments and the young lady was like, no, this might be, like, somebody was like, girl, let that man of God go find his wife or something like that. And she was like, no, he's mine. So maybe they have some sort of history. Maybe he's used to, the shenanigans, but this is not a foundation, I'll be honest, for a healthy relationship. Not that it can't be healthy because one action doesn't denote the whole relationship. But if being inconsiderate is a thing for you, I'm gonna need you to get a handle on that before you guys get too serious, okay? So I had a good mind to say that my verdict is I want y'all to leave each other alone, but I'm gonna reel that back in because I don't have enough information. But my verdict as of right now is for you to apologize, for you to get into therapy, and for y'all to talk about what your boundaries are when it comes to going places in time. Meaning he may need to give you an earlier time so that way you're ready. He may need to, pick you up, like help you to get ready. You may need to set earlier alarms, whatever that looks like. But if the issue is not organization and it's literally your lack of consideration, you got to deal with that, sister. You got to deal with that. Okay. So my verdict is for you to apologize and for you to seek some counseling and for you guys to set boundaries around time in your engagement with each other. That's it. And thank you for watching another episode of the Therapist Courtroom. And I hope to see you in the next one.